rodzinna gra komputerowa.
Pegasus Family Game.
Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus Cornix, so welcome to Yacc, yet another Crowcast where I pick a game, I play for a week, and then I talk about it. This week, however, is a bit different. I'm covering a console called the Super Pegasus. It was released in 1991, and it's a Famicom clone system. It was developed in Taiwan and distributed in Poland by Bob Mark International. And there will be some spoilers up ahead, just but first a little backstory. So I have a Polish co-worker, and I've only seen him done 4 things. Smoke, drinking coffee, looking at his phone and talk. That's what he does. I never seen him work, actually. So about a month ago, we had a conversation about our childhood games, and he mentioned he had a PlayStation growing up and the Super Pegasus, and I didn't know what the Super Pegasus was, but I always kept this conversation in my mind, and it's weird how the brain works, right? So about 1 month later, I checked it out, and it made an interesting episode, I think. So the Super Pegasus plays Famicom games, but yet it looks like a Super Nintendo. It also is called a bunch of things throughout the world, such as IQ 502 or the MT707, the 7XD. And I can recommend a YouTuber called Retro Tech Corner because he is way better explaining it, how this works. He even takes apart the consoles and show a couple of different hardwares and different plastics, but each different version pretty much does the same. So this console was sold in Poland, the Czech Republic, and Indonesia, and a couple of other places. The company that distributed the game in Poland was called Bob Mark International, and it's kind of funny. I would have liked to be in that boardroom or during that meeting when they decided on that name. Well, your name is Bob and yours is Mark. That's the name of our company now. I actually have no idea where the name actually came from. But to make a note here, Russian and Chinese knockoff consoles has been around like forever, and those are simpler to make and cheaper. So sometimes Nintendo didn't even have the opportunity to distribute in those countries. So that's why it's like cheaper to get a clone console. And the other obvious reason that they pretty much don't have a choice in the matter. So the console was popular between 92 and 93. And a funny thing about Bob Mark International is that the company actually made another couple of Nintendo clone consoles, just adding the Pegasus to the title, like Pegasus, Game Boy, and even working with Sega on a couple of occasions on consoles. And now it's time for a little tech talk. So what's in a Super Pegasus? So it uses ROM cartridges, just like the Famicom. It even had a floppy drive, like a disc reader. It had a CPU called the MOS 6502 at 1.779 megahertz, or the UMC UA6528P. It's like a picture processing unit, like in the normal NES. It also had a display of PAL, which is the region which it's based in, with a resolution of 256 by 240, with 25 colors out of 64 available. The sound channels are noise channels, PCM, 3 sound channels, and an external audio source via the cartridge pin 48 and 49. So depending on what version you got of this console, what model you got, you either had the gun, just like the zapper, or controllers with turbo functionality. And since the Super Pegasus looks like a Super Nintendo, it has the same layout on the console itself, such as the power, reset, and eject button. So what game did this console have? So it came with a multi-cart 501, and there was even a bigger one with like 600 in it. And it was mostly compatible with the Famicom games at the time. And the clone cards are a bit interesting because they're bright, plastic, colorful all over the place. Another funny thing about Bob Mark, the company, the Internationals, they made a deal with Codemasters to actually get some quality games on the console itself. There are a couple of other titles as well that I should mention: Bomberman, Chip and Dale, Ice Climber, Contra, and Robocop 2, and these actually look pretty good. And another funny thing about the Bob Mark company is that after leaving the gaming industry, they actually made a bootleg version of Coca-Cola in Poland called Hop Cola. And it's like these guys, though, they have never had an original idea. They're just going to do something with something that already exists. And I love that concept. The whole company structure is just based on copying other stuff. So in conclusion, I wrote, I like to learn about obscure video game consoles. Today we can pretty much get our hands on the latest stuff, consoles, games, whenever we want. But back then, distribution was a bit different. Sometimes countries didn't even get the console at all. Today we have the internet and live features baked into the console itself, so it's hard to miss games and console releases. And it's also nice to talk about something else than, like the normal game consoles that I have. So, it's a breath of fresh air for me at least to do something different. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for listening and or watching, and take care.